Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. So this, just to kind of give you a background, this came about from the last, I don't know how many years. Uh, the holidays have always been a little bit of a roller coaster for me. I've spent so many of them on my own, thankfully, at least with my dog, but with no other humans around because my family lives so far away. And I couldn't always make it to see my family in New York. And those years were really hard. They took a toll on me mentally. And then on the few occasions where I was blessed enough to celebrate with other people, uh, I felt like I would overindulge, especially in alcohol and whatever food I could eat. And it always left me feeling so icky. And I was like, this is not me. Why am I doing this? So that's kind of where this came about. Uh, I know I'm not the only person who feels this way. I think people go through so many different emotions and so many different actions in the months of November and December. So that's really what inspired me to put this together. So take what resonates with you. Everything may not apply to you, but if nothing else, I just want you to know that this is the time for you to rest, to relax, to rejuvenate, and more than anything, reconnect with yourself. If you do nothing else, just reconnect with yourself. So I kind of broke this workshop into 4 different segments. The first one focuses on eating mindfully, just some tips on, being aware of what you're eating, when you're eating, and how you're eating. And then we kind of move into how to incorporate some movement through the holidays. And then really focusing on your mental and emotional health, because mental health is health also. So that's a big portion of, what happens during these next few months. And then we kind of wrap it up with, sorry, I'm going to get a drink of water, with staying present, being in the moment, and just enjoying this time with your family. Sorry, I'm going to get a quick drink. All right. So starting off with eating mindfully. One of the first things that you can do before you start eating is just take a deep breath. What that does is it puts you in that zone, right? You forget about everything else, let all the other distractions go, just take that deep breath and be thankful for what's in front of you. It kind of sets the tone for how you want to enjoy your meal. The next thing you can do is eat slowly. This is much harder to do. It's easier said than done. So here are some ways that you can slow down. Put your silverware down in between bites. Take some deep breaths in between bites. Kind of be aware and enjoy the taste, the texture, the smell, the sight of what you're eating. Take it all in. Just let it consume you fully while you're consuming it. Think of it kind of as a two-way street, and that will help you slow down some of that eating. What you also want to do is eat till you're 80% full. Now, how do you know and how do you measure 80%? You'll know, your body will know. So once you're getting to the point of where you feel kind of full, that's basically 80% full. And the reason for this is there is a connection between your gut and your brain. And as your gut starts to digest your food, it takes a little bit for it to communicate with your brain and say, hey, I'm getting full. So that communication gap is where that 80% comes in. So if you were to eat to 100%, you would actually be overeating, because by the time your gut tells your brain we're full, you've actually gotten to a point of being overfull. So give yourself that time. Semi-full is full. Think of it that way. And if you're unsure, just give yourself about 5 or 10 minutes before you go for seconds. Take a break, whether you're going for another glass of wine or, a plate of dessert. Just take that break, and that will be sufficient to figure out whether you want any more food or not, or another beverage. And then pay attention to what's on your plate. Look at the nutrients. You don't have to kind of get to the nitty gritty of it. You don't need to pull out a weighing scale and, measure the nutrients on there, but just take a look at the plate and see what's on there. Kind of a good rule of thumb is a fistful of veggies is what you want. So that could be a fistful of green beans. You want a cupped hand. So that's going to be this part right here, a cupped hand of carbs. So maybe a cupped hand of mashed potatoes. And then you want your entire palm, that's going to be the biggest share on your plate of protein. So maybe that's the turkey. Now, the minute you add stuffing and gravy, just keep in mind that does not fall into protein, but enjoy it. You get it once a year, enjoy it. Don't hold yourself back. These are kind of loose guidelines. As long as you see some of this on your plate, you're getting your nutrients. Now, you'll see a note where I put women 1, men 2. That's just the serving size. So for women, it's going to be 1 fistful, 1 cupped hand, 1 palm. For men, it's going to be twice that. And that's kind of the guideline that you want to follow. The other thing that you want to do is hydrate. And I did put with water because a lot of times during the holidays we hydrate with everything but water. So all of that drinking, all of the dessert you're consuming, a lot of the processed food that you're taking in, you have to flush it out of your system. And the way you do that is through water. So, set a reminder or have a water bottle handy, whatever works for you, but hydrate. Something else that you can do is consume smaller portions. So you don't need to pile your plate up. You don't need to put heaps of turkey and mashed potatoes. The food is not going anywhere. I promise you, there's always more than enough food. I don't think I've ever been to a holiday party where we've run out of food, maybe alcohol, but not run out of food. So go with smaller portions, start with maybe half a slice of pie or just 1 glass of wine. And then as you're incorporating some of the other tips, like eating slowly, taking some deep breaths, eating till you're 80% full, that's when you'll know if you want the rest of the slice of pie or if you do really want to go for the other glass of wine. So start small and then work your way up. All right. Moving on to the next segment, which is just kind of incorporating movement through the holidays, right? It's so easy to just sit there, eat and vegetate, watch TV or hang out with your family and friends. Even if you're on your own, your mindset shifts, right? Because you're taking that time off from work. So you're on an entirely different schedule. You don't have your usual stressors. So it's so easy to let your workouts fall by the wayside. But the tips I'm sharing, these are really quick, may take you 10 or 15 minutes, and they'll still leave you feeling kind of active. So one of the things you can do is do shorter workouts, but make them just as impactful. So they're high intensity, but short workouts. So you could do 5 to 10 sun salutations, or you could come up with your own, your own routine of HIIT cardio. So maybe you do 10 push-ups, you do 10 lunges, 10 squat jumps, 10 mountain climbers, maybe throw in 10 burpees in there or whatever else floats your boat. You could do 10 skaters. Do that like 2 or 3 times and watch, your heart is going to be pumping, your blood's going to be pumping, and you're getting that flow going. So that's all. And that will take you maybe 15 minutes at the most. So that's something you can do as well. If you'd rather be outdoors and the weather cooperates, go for it. Go for a 20-minute walk, try a bike ride, or, try jogging. Even better, do it with the family. The more the merrier. If you do nothing else, at least stretch. 10 minutes is ideal, but if you don't have 10 minutes to spare, just dedicate 5 minutes and do what feels good. You don't need to follow any kind of guide or anything like that. Just kind of wake up, check in with your body, see what kind of stretches your body wants, and then go ahead and do those for 10 minutes. There are some days when I wake up and my lower back hurts. So I spend more time stretching my lower back than any other part of my body. So listen to your body and see what it wants. Something else that you can do, if there are kids involved during the celebrations, whether they're your children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, play with them. Go play soccer or football. Even if you suck, that's fine. Just have a good time with them. And if soccer, football, or outdoors games are not your thing, have a mini dance party. Kids love that. You can do that indoors too. And again, just 10-15 minutes with them, that's good enough. That's going to get you a little bit of a workout. Help with the cleaning and cooking. If you're the host, obviously you're going to be doing majority of this. But if you're not the host, if you're a guest or a family member, help out with it. If you're vacuuming or setting the dinner table, or you're peeling the potatoes or mashed potatoes. Can you tell I really like mashed potatoes? So whatever it is that you're helping out with, that again is movement, and that's what you want. The goal is you just don't want to be sedentary for the entire day. And then if you are going to be sedentary and hanging out on the couch, or, just kind of chilling, set a reminder on your phone every hour, get up once. Well, even if it's just to go get a glass of water. And this is great because you're killing two birds with one stone. You're getting hydrated and you're moving every hour on the hour. So whatever that interval looks like to you, but just kind of move as frequently as you can. And then use your environment to your advantage. So if there are stairs, take the stairs. If you're out buying presents, or if you're out running errands, buying groceries, and you're at the mall, instead of taking the escalator, take the stairs. And then park further away in the parking lot if you even find parking during this time of the year. So, make sure you're parking pretty far away. That way you get your steps in. And if you do nothing else, you're getting a little bit of movement in this way. Now, this is, I'm sorry, I went back quite a bit. All right. And moving on to the next section, which is your mental and emotional health. This is kind of my favorite because this is where I take the biggest beating during the holidays. I don't know what it is, about Christmas specifically, but I almost always spiral. So a lot of these tips that I'm sharing, I've used them in the past. I continue to use them. So I hope you get something out of this and you're inspired to either use these or come up with your own. But what you can start doing is visualizing how you want to feel when you're celebrating. And you don't need to wait until the day of Thanksgiving or, Christmas Eve to start doing this. You can start this now and do it up to the holidays, do it through the holidays. And if it feels good, even beyond the holidays. And when you visualize, what you're imagining is your state of mind, you're envisioning, the people around you, the food, the warmth, the feeling of being there. You can get really detailed and, even imagine what you're wearing and how you're looking and how the people around you are looking. And that kind of gets you ready. It kind of makes you feel in control of what's about to come, especially, if you get nervous or if you get stressed out with the holidays. If you're on your own, which I have been on many holidays, this is still worth doing, because it's hard. It's hard to spend the holidays on your own and be without your family and be without your friends. But as you start to envision what you want those days to look like, again, you'll feel a little bit more in control of your mental and emotional health. And then as the days roll around, set an intention for that day. I've put some examples here that I've used, but you can always come up with your own just to kind of share a little bit more. I have one on here that says, I'm on my own journey. The reason I put that there is, for me, sometimes it gets so easy to compare myself to others and, compare what I don't have to what they have, especially during the holidays. It could be someone who has a great body and looks fantastic in the dress she's wearing, or, being in somebody's home and thinking, oh my God, this house is absolutely gorgeous. Will I ever have a place like this? Just things like that. It can be very easy to start comparing and then experiencing despair about that and feeling hopeless. So this is when I come up with this intention. I kind of fall back on this as I'm on my own journey, because I am, and the other person is on their journey. And I don't need to compare myself to the other person. Another one I put on here is, worrying is a waste of my energy. And the reason I put that is, I'm one of those people that has a hard time staying in the moment, because I'm always stressing about what's to come. And I've noticed that sometimes, I would be at Thanksgiving dinner or celebrating Christmas, and I'd be thinking, oh my goodness, okay, in a few days, I have to go back to work. I have that meeting with this client, and I have, I need to go over this data with that client. And it would just take away from the moment. Why was I doing that to myself? So that's why this one is key for me, is worrying is a waste of my energy. Also, with some of the holidays, being around some family, it can get toxic. And that's where I came up with, I'm enough and worthy of being here. That sense of belonging is to myself and not to anybody else. So I am just as worthy to be amongst these people. And because I shared earlier, sometimes I will indulge a little too much. I had to put some kind of reminder and set my intention that I will eat mindfully, or I will only have one glass of wine. And again, these are mine. Make them yours and come up with your own and see what feels good. And then, give your emotions an outlet. So the holidays are really overwhelming, right? For many different reasons. You may experience so much. It's possible that you may have lost a loved one in the last few years, because of COVID or unrelated, and they may not be able to be there with you this holiday season. Or you may not be able to be with your family and your friends and your loved ones. So there could be a lot going on. But give your emotions a healthy outlet. So instead of turning to food or alcohol or weed, kind of turn to something that's going to help you cope with these feelings in a healthy way. What you can do is journal, or you could record your emotions. The reason I said record is because sometimes I just don't feel like writing down my feelings. So what I do is I pick up my phone and I just record an audio message for myself, or I turn on the video option and I record myself and I watch myself talking to myself, basically. But it's kind of an outlet. And what that does more than anything else is it brings me back to the present, and it makes me aware of what I'm feeling. And that's when I question those emotions, that are these really true, or are these just feelings, or are these facts? Even if you're going to journal, as you start writing, you'll notice and you'll see, okay, are these feelings or are these facts? And that again gives you clarity and perspective. So try that if you're starting to feel really overwhelmed. One of my favorite forms of meditations is the loving kindness meditation, the LKM. Its focus is self-compassion and empathy. So you kind of start off with 3 or 4 blessings that you choose for yourself. It might be, may I be strong, may I be safe, may I be kind, may I be happy. I just came up with 4 random ones. So choose ones that apply to you. And then give yourself a couple of minutes in a quiet area, close your eyes, kind of get in the moment and repeat these blessings to yourself. Do it for about 2 minutes. This is you giving love to yourself. There's nothing greater than self-love. So, make sure that you're kind of giving yourself that loving kindness meditation. And then what you can do is take it even a step further. You could send these positive vibes to the people you love. So maybe it's a significant other, maybe it's a parent, a child, or even a friend that lives halfway across the world and you're thinking of her. You could choose either the same blessings or come up with blessings that apply to them. And you can do that too. So that way you're generating positive vibes and you're sharing the positive vibes. The next thing you can do is stick to a routine as much as possible. And trust me, I know it's hard. I usually take the week of Thanksgiving off, and instead of going to bed at 10 p.m., I'm going to bed at midnight, and I'm waking up at 8 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. So there can be a shift in routine, but try to make it minimal. So what I mean by that is if I typically go to bed at 10 p.m., but during that week of Thanksgiving, I start to go to bed at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., it's going to put everything out of whack. A couple hours here and there, your body can still handle. But if you push it too much, what it does is it impacts your digestive system, it impacts your mood, and it impacts your cravings. So watch that the next time you're out of your routine, see what happens to your body, see what happens to your hunger, and just how you feel, even in terms of your energy. So try to get any kind of routine in place that makes sense to you, because sleeping is key, moving is key, and taking care of yourself is extremely important. Right. And then a couple more. So stick to the traditions that bring you joy. We're creatures of habit. So year after year, we may have the same rituals and the same traditions that have been passed down from one generation to another. But some of them may not make sense to you, and that's okay. So this is your time. The holidays, more than anything else, are about you, not the presents, not what the rest of the world is doing or what they have and you don't have. It's about you, and whatever makes you feel whole and happy is what you want to stick with. And then surround yourself with uplifting audio. Music is magic. Music is healing. So whether it's hip hop, R&B, classical music, whatever floats your boat, surround yourself with that music, because it does have an impact on your mental and emotional health. If you're into podcasts and there are certain ones that really uplift your spirits, make sure you're listening to that podcast. You don't need to take a break, during the week of Thanksgiving, or whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas, whatever it is that you're celebrating. Maybe listen to it for 10 minutes instead of the full 50 minutes or 60 minutes. But make sure you're surrounding yourself with that, the positivity. And then this one is really important. Give what you can, especially in terms of finances. So, there was a time when I would go back and look at my December expenses and my eyes would just bug out, because I'd be like, holy crap, I broke the bank, because I'd be busy buying people presents, or I'd be going to parties and, I wanted to take a bottle of wine or whatever it was. And that's when I realized I needed to really sit down before the holidays and budget and see where my money was going, and, if it made sense as to where it was going. So remember, more than presents, what people will remember is your time, your kindness, and your understanding. So especially with a possible recession looming and with all the layoffs happening, it's natural to be nervous. So this is a good time to sit down and set aside the money that you want to spend for the holidays and no more. Put yourself in a position to succeed, especially as the new year rolls around. And then come up with a plan for the following year. If that means setting aside $50 every month throughout the year for your Christmas budget, then that's what you do, so that when December rolls around, you have that nest egg, you have that savings that you tap into instead of cutting into your day-to-day expenses. So remember, give what you can. People will admire your presence, but they will remember how you made them feel more than anything else. All right. And then kind of moving into the last segment is how to be in the moment. Again, it's easy once you're in that environment to kind of be like, oh, do I look okay? Is my dress all right? So-and-so looks really good. Maybe I should have gotten that bottle of wine, or maybe shouldn't have had so many mashed potatoes. You kind of just lose that, right? It's about being in the moment. And if you're on your own, it's about being in the moment too. It's not about being there and worrying about, oh, I wish I was with so-and-so, or if only I had my family nearby. Yes, that would be ideal, but you can still make the most of this moment. So one of the things you can do is take some time and send warm wishes to people who are not with you or not as privileged as you. So what I mean by that is, if you know of a friend or family member who's going to be on their own, maybe send them just a kind message and, wish them for the holiday. I'll share a story about myself. I have a cousin in New York who throws an epic Christmas Eve party every year. I've only made it to one. And he would invite me frequently, and he'd say, everybody's here, why don't you come? And there were times when I couldn't make it. And he would just send me a message saying, hey, we miss you. Wish you were here, but we'll see you soon. Just something like that. Or he would always send me a message. Every year he sends me this is, hey, what's your address? Because I tend to move around a lot. So he confirms my address. I want to send you a holiday card. And that means so much to me, that there is someone out there thinking of me. And even though we can't physically be in the same room, I'm still important to him. So those are the messages you want to send, not just the happy Thanksgiving, I'm grateful for you. And then the next thing that you can try to be in the moment is be a little forgiving. There are going to be people who upset you and annoy you, and discuss politics. I almost don't want to say the word politics, but that's going to happen. That's life. There are going to be uncomfortable moments, and there are a few different things you can do. You can either completely disengage, and say, I'm sorry, I don't think I want to talk about this right now, and walk away. Or you can stop for a second and see their side of it. We're so trained to focus on our principles and our thoughts and our opinions that we forget that there is another side to everything we feel and we experience. So you can look at that person as a whole person and really see what they're trying to tell you, really understand what they're trying to tell you. And if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. Again, disengage, walk away. And what you can do, just so you don't feel shaken up and there isn't any negativity within you, is think of one thing that you admire about this person. There's going to be something, there's going to be some characteristic that stands out, that you can say, I'm really impressed by this, or I think it's amazing that so-and-so is able to do this. And that at least ends the entire interaction on a positive note. You're done, it's done and dusted, and you move on to the next thing. The other reminder is limit the use of alcohol. When you're inebriated, you're not really there, right? You're kind of in la la land. And it's tempting. I get it. You're on family, your friends, if you're on your own, which I have done, I've just grabbed a bottle of wine because I thought that's what would make me feel better or less lonely. So that's not the answer though, right? If you really want to be in the present, in the moment, you limit the use of alcohol and you know what your limit is. And then don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take anybody else too seriously. You know, as I said, people are going to piss you off. You might piss them off. You know, if there's alcohol involved, there might be some things that are said and done that aren't the best. So turn to laughter and just kind of remember you don't need to take everything too seriously. You know, this is just one evening or 4 days of the year, and that's it. And then take some time to thank the host. If you're the host, you definitely need to do this. You need to stop, recognize the work that you've done, give yourself that credit, and then reward yourself however you see fit. Because hosting, it comes from here, you know, it's from your heart. It's not just about making the meals and having people at your dinner table. It goes much deeper than that. But if you're a family member or you're a guest, just take a second to tell the host how much this means to you, how special it is for you to celebrate with them. And then kind of taking the fact that you get to be a part of this tradition that's been around for, I don't even know how long. It's so much bigger than you, so much older than you, and you get to be a part of it. You know, when you recognize that and absorb that, it automatically puts you in a position to be present. And then this one's, you know, kind of common sense, but just a reminder, take the photos. Yes, please take the photos, take them for yourself, take them for Instagram, and then set aside your phone. You know, your phone's always going to be there, or some version of it will always be there. The people may not. And that's the one lesson that we've really learned from COVID, right? Is that the people may not always be around. So great, take the family pictures and then, you know, put your phone away. And then try and connect over meaningful activities. This also helps with not needing to drink as much or not needing to have, you know, as many mashed potatoes, so not putting too many calories into your body. You can connect over board games or watch a movie that everybody appreciates, you know, maybe do some arts and crafts. So if it's Thanksgiving, maybe you want to, you know, put together some ornaments. Maybe you want to make some ornaments for Christmas. You could even volunteer as a family, or even if you're solo. You know, I've done this. I have volunteered. You know, I wasn't in a position to give money, but I went and I gave my time and it felt really good. So there are different ways to do things where you are present and you really, truly not only understand the meaning of the holidays, but also pass that on to other people. And yeah, that kind of wraps up our workshop. Thank you so much for your time. Again, it means so much to me that you took this time out for yourself. You know, if there's anything that really stuck with you, please share it with others. You know, whatever can make people truly enjoy the holidays is what this is about. If you want to stay in touch, you can check out my YouTube channel. I have it on here. Or if you want to learn more about me and how I can help you, you can check out the website. It's www.imperfectbodies.com. And then this is kind of a freebie here. If you're looking for a free guide or 10 ways to beat overwhelm, click on this link and you'll have a copy of the guide. So again, thank you. I hope you have a really peaceful holiday season and tell me how it goes.